Welcome to We Got Goals, a podcast by asweatlife.com on which we talk to high achievers about their goals. I'm Gina Anderson, co-founder and CEO of A Sweat Life. And with me today, I have Christine Yi and Felicity Chen, co-founders of Potli. Please tell me what's going on and how you came to found Potli together.
Yeah, Christine and I were randomly paired freshman year roommates in college, and little did we know years later we would be operating a cannabis company together, actually two companies together. But the company all started by accident. Both of us had graduated, gone our separate careers. Christine had stayed in the East Coast. I had come back home to California, where we actually both grew up 15 miles from each other. And I came home. I realized my dad had started a completely new hobby while the bird was away. And the hobby was beekeeping for my mother because she's an asthma patient. And so I noticed that my mom integrated honey into her daily wellness routine every single day. Every single morning, she would make a hot water, add a slice of lemon in it, and then put some honey. And there's no way my Asian immigrant mom would ever smoke a joint with me, especially with her asthma. And so with these incredible benefits, I thought, why don't we put some weed into this honey and call it a day? And that's how we happened to create our first product. But today we make all sorts of ingredients, from honey, olive oil, chili oil, apple cider vinegar to sriracha, and they're all sourced and harvested from the Bay Area, California, because that's where Christine and I were born and raised, and we want to celebrate the incredible produce that is from, a few miles away from us, and we want to share it with the rest of the world. And so that's how we created Potli, and the ethos of Potli is really just to have a high functioning and elevated life, and kind of take life day by day, but in a way that's more elevated and opening up your senses.
And how lucky that you got paired together your freshman year. Do you ever kind of look back at the chance of all of that and how you ended up being friends coming from, well, I guess 15 miles away, but ending up as roommates?
Yeah, and nobody believes that the whole pairing process was random. They're like, they must be pairing people from similar areas and whatnot, because what are the odds? Like, we actually had a few mutual friends too. But no, it was completely random. Chances were very slim, but thank God, because I feel like I have really seen Felicity grow all the years, even before Potli, and then of course tremendously and astronomically after Potli. But we have had so many first moments together as, freshman year roommates, like first time living away from home, and, first time getting a real internship and a real job and all of that. And so to just continue that trend of first is definitely something special. Fel is definitely the only person in my life that knows, besides me, what it's like to start this business where we only have each other. So yeah.
Co-founders are lucky to have each other. It's that sort of second leg in a stool. Stools need three, but you know what I'm saying.
Totally get you.
Yeah, to keep you standing up. Well, I want to talk a little bit about how Potli sort of uses food as a vehicle, and how it was started from your mom, Felicity, and how today you're sort of making it a part of a healthy life. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So for us, we look at the edible space back when we started, and even still today, and it's very much dominated by things like gummies and chocolates and confection-based goods, which we know and we love them. But at the same time, there weren't as many everyday ingredients and everyday infused edible foods that were available. And so our mission is really plain and simple. We want to bring the accessibility via ingredients that are more versatile and that are more everyday and people already know how to use. And so Of course, these things are healthier because there's less processed, they're less sugar oriented, they don't have any artificial flavorings or colorings or things like that, but luckily are in and of themselves natural preservatives, so they're very shelf stable. But at the same time, I think it also ushers in a new type of cannabis user, because sometimes people need to just be able to visualize themselves using something to be open to trying something. And if somebody is very health conscious or has certain dietary restrictions and can't eat that gummy, but they do take olive oil and they use olive oil every day, just being like, oh, that's an everyday use case, it makes them more open to the idea of cannabis as a whole. And so for us, like, we grew up practicing Eastern medicine because we're children of Asian immigrants. And so for us, food was always medicine. Food always had this nutritional purpose. And so we're trying to make these ingredients more functional, more intentional. And there's a lot of complicated health goods out on the market because it's such a up and coming and growing market and part of people's wallet share. So for us, we're making multitasking products too. So you don't need to get the tincture or smoke the weed and then eat the food. It's like we're bringing really meticulously sourced, beautiful, minimally processed raw ingredients and then infusing them with the health benefits of cannabis.
Oh, I love it. And you have products for specific use cases too. A newer product helps with sleep.
Yeah, so we just launched our Dream Honey. It uses the specific cannabinoid CBN as well as CBD. And then on the cannabis side in California, it has a little bit of THC. On the hemp side, which is sold on Amazon as well as our website, potlishop.com, it has a little bit of melatonin. So it's a full spectrum of all these benefits that help you fall asleep, but then also help you stay asleep. And then when you wake up, you really feel rejuvenated. You don't get that like slump that the next day where you feel like, yes, you slept, but you just didn't really get into that deep REM sleep.
Mm-hmm. I know that feeling. Let's talk one last thing before we jump in. I need to know, what is it like to work with a friend, and how do you guys sort of divide and conquer?
Yeah, I think we're really great at that, actually. Chris and I are good at really separate things. Chris, manages his brand. She has an incredible writing voice. And we're both creative. We both have, really big visions on how we see the big picture. And of course, we'll disagree. My background really is in like the business development and sales and operations. And together, I think like we create a really balanced team where, we don't agree on everything. And I think it's totally normal. And I think because like we've been friends for so long, like I can just tell her, this is how I feel about this. And, that didn't make me feel good, or this might be better this way. And we can just honestly tell each other how we feel about things and like try to find a happy medium. And I think that's why it's been really great. But, our successes and our creativity is really unlocked when we work together.
Oh, anything to add, Christine?
I think that pretty much covered it. I think what's the most important thing in trying to work together is like just finding the right level of communication always. And I think depending on the combination, depending on the people, it sometimes looks like more, sometimes looks like less. And so that is always like an active, ongoing thing that we're working on. And I'm sure all co-founders will say that they're working on as well. But it all just comes down to that because, right, as partners of the business, we both want what's best for the company at the end of the day. Our intentions are always there and are always clear and right. And so it's a challenge, but there's no one else I'd rather be doing this with.
Yeah, it's like a marriage, honestly.
Totally.
We're fully married.
Yeah.
Some people Felicity would be like, oh, this is Chris, my partner, like business partner. And then for the next 2 years, they think that we're married, and that's fine.
There's been paperwork that says Felicity Yi instead of Felicity Chen. So it's like, all right, we'll take it.
Just super married. It's fine. Well, let's dig in. Tell me about a big goal that you have set and accomplished. How'd you get there, and why was it important to you?
I can go first, sure. A big goal that we had as a team, and it was really just the two of us for so long. A big goal that I had was to build a diverse team. So we knew within the next year we were going to be hiring people and expanding and getting people for different functions. And my main priority was just bringing diversity, representing a lot of women. We wanted our team to be a direct reflection of our customers who are super diverse, but are very wellness oriented and kind and lead their lives with self-care and care for others. And so we are all types of colors. We're primarily female, and that's something I'm super proud of.
All parts of the continent.
Yeah, that's true. We have a lot of
yeah.
remote workers in Europe and in Asia. So,
but picking off of what Christine is saying, because we have been able to build this incredible team, I think that this big, dream launch was so successful because we had all these different ideas, all these different inputs, everybody working together from, all parts of the different world to get this going. And yeah, it's still Christine and I on the day-to-day basis, doing most of the work, but we have an incredible growth team now, and we have an incredible just creative team and advisors, and everybody kind of pitching in and doing the heavy lifting. And I think that's why the content that you see is so creative and so playful and so fun and so original. And yeah, I think, it's really, the reason why we've been so successful for this launch of this product.
I love that. It's so interesting to hear you add kind into the persona of your customer. How do you kind of see that reflected in your own values as a company and in your customers?
Yeah, I think that's such a good question. Not even one that I've explicitly thought of, but I think when you think of Potli products, they are meant to be comforting. They are not crazy prescriptive. It's not like you have to take one of these every day to get the results that we're promising you. And if you don't, that's on you, et cetera, et cetera. Our whole tone as a company and the products we make is that they're very versatile. They're there for you when you need them. If you don't need them, good on you as well. And we want to just be super positive reinforcements in your life to help you function the way that you want to function, and to open up dialogues with other people and with yourself. And so I think this idea of practicing self-care is really rooted in self-kindness, and listening to yourself and what you need, and having the attention span to give yourselves what it is that you need. And so I think that and then also when we think of kind, I also think of just the niceness of even our ingredients, right? Like, are we sourcing from family-owned operations and small farms that are kind to the environment and their employees? And so we want the kindness to be reflected in every aspect of the product itself, and then therefore the team.
I love that. And I feel like I'm going to make a leap here. But I feel like it's so reflective in female leadership to say, like, we want to be kind and focus on results. So you're not jockeying as a team either for power or position. You're just working for that end result. That's why women make such good leaders and such good founders, in my opinion, but hey, I'm biased.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to know what's a goal you're setting for the future. You've got this incredible team that's representing all sorts of women across the globe. What's a goal that you're going to take that team and shoot for in the future, and how are you going to get there?
So a goal that I have, which is very it's a kind of a dry business goal, but I'm going to throw it out there because we think about it all day. We're primarily, historically, a wholesale company. So we sell into dispensaries and retailers. We have amazing partners can find them on getpotli.com. And then we have hemp CBD retailers like Erewhon and whatnot. And, you know, they're great. But we do want to beef up D2C primarily because we want to be there for people and be convenient, especially in these times when you can't go out of home maybe, and that's not accessible to you or you're not comfortable doing so. But in addition to that, I think it speaks to a broader mission we have as Potli, because we know that a lot of our clients are not walking into a dispensary. Maybe they don't feel comfortable walking into one, or whatever else the circumstance may be. And so we want to be there for them and to be growing this community in a way that they feel truly comfortable, and building an online ecosystem that has our products, has recipes, have different users engaging in dialogue, where we can provide education and actually teach them about what's going on inside our product in the jars is really important to us. So I would really love as a company to switch over and kind of inverse that proportion between wholesale and direct to consumer online.
Ooh, I love that. I'm in that sort of group that you're describing. I've never been into a dispensary, which shame on me. However, I would use your honey. I would use your honey every day of my life. So put me down for future subscription.
Yes, definitely.
Felicity, what about you?
Yeah, I think mine is more, open-ended, but I do want to remind ourselves every day that what we're doing is fun and exciting, and we kind of are in a very specific place in life to be so like lucky to have the jobs that we do. And so that kind of life balance of remembering that this is such an incredible opportunity, and our goal is to absolutely have the most fun that we can possibly can't do. And that's, I think, an ultimate reminder that we need to create that balance in our lives. And if that's by going on massive, huge sprints on product launches, but then taking a weekend, a long weekend to yourself and really recharging, just like creating good boundaries on when is it go time and when is it time for you to check in with yourself and make sure that you're okay and the team is okay, so that you can savor that creativity and you can help make it even stronger and grow bigger and be larger than life. I think that it takes that balance where you can go really hard and fast, and you can really know also when to relax and take time.
I like that your goals complement each other. I think it's really interesting because you have Christine with a very sort of, you get there and it's accomplished kind of goal. Like that goal has a finish line. And Felicity, you have this process oriented goal that keeps you sort of grounded in the fun. And I also think that speaks to the kindness culture too. You're being kind to yourself by having each other to remind you of that. So can you talk, Felicity, a little bit more about what you're doing to kind of stay grounded in the fun right now, or moments of fun that have sort of come and gone?
Yeah, it's a day by day thing, but I think I kind of mentioned it in my answer previously, which is like, I think that we are so lucky to be here, and it's kind of like a amazing, like sometimes I still don't really believe that, like in a sense, like we've done it. We've already we haven't made it for sure, but we're doing the best that we can, and in the best that we can, there's the little successes that you can enjoy and feel good about. And when you're in those moments and you realize that, really nourish it and really cherish it and really actually feel that. That's kind of a little reminder. We Chris and I do like monthly just like check-ins at the end of the month to just kind of wrap the month and talk about what we did and what we accomplished and what we didn't do. And we have like a section on wins, and we try to like make it such that we have a win for every day, which doesn't always happen, but almost every month that we've written down, we almost have a win for each one of the days. And that's how we celebrate them, is to like reflect and be like, wow, like we actually did accomplish a lot. And yes, not everything happened the way we thought it would, but each day is pretty freaking awesome. And so we should celebrate that.
That's a hot tip. That's very Sheryl Sandberg too, that accomplishment list, keeping you grounded in actually achieving things when it can feel like you're stuck in the grind. Well, let's dig in. I need to know your hot tips for staying grounded, sane, and productive in this time. Let's start with you, Christine. What is a tip for self-care right now?
So something that I started doing in quarantine is, just to stay sane, I was doing a lot of meditation on like Headspace and whatnot. I've had Headspace, I've had Calm for like years and years. And I just realized I like came to terms with the fact that it wasn't really working for me. And I was like, have they ever worked for me? Or were they just something that I did? And I was like, okay, I feel like I put in 10 minutes for myself. So that's good, right? But I think I just came to terms. I like snapped a few months ago and I was like, okay, these aren't working. I need to think of something else. And so I now have this practice where I like pick a song that I'm vibing to, and my song changes like maybe once a month or so. And they like range from being like funky house music to like something a little bit more like pensive and moody. But I listen to it for 15 minutes. So I'll like replay it 3-4 times, however long it takes. And then I just do pure visualization into the future. And I pick random prompts that I'll make myself. Like I will ask myself, okay, if you were waking up in your bed, like if I'm in bed at that moment and I'm planning on doing it and it's 10 years from now, where are you? Like, what city are you in? What does your bed look like? What does your apartment look like? What's your routine? What are you going to eat? Are you living with someone? What are the most important tasks that you've got to take on today? Like, what are you worried about even? And I get very, very specific. And I find that it is highly meditative because it is a routine. But I also think it's very like productive and forward moving. And I think that within this time, something difficult is we're not really creating that many new memories, and we're kind of forced to dwell on old things that have happened. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've been doing a lot of just like thinking about the past and whatnot in a way that's probably not super healthy. So I think as much as we can think to the future, even though that is a hard thing to do right now, that is super healthy for us while we're all like hamsters in a cage right now.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of a daily visualization. It's almost like the way you described it was almost like journaling, but just in your head, which I think is really interesting. And I think it puts you very much so in what athletes, what CEOs, what a lot of folks kind of do in their winning visualization. So I think that's an awesome practice. Thanks for sharing that, Christine.
Yeah, and I think just in the past instructions I've been given for visualization, it's always been about big things, right? But sometimes I feel like it's more constructive even just to think about the little details that are a result of those big things,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's super interesting. What kind of dog do you have in the future?
Yeah.
Felicity, what about you? What's a self-care tip keeping you sane that others at home can use?
I know, it just, as you were saying that journaling, that's what Christine is kind of doing in her head. That's something I did for a really long time in the beginning of COVID. I'm like, I'm going to, or it didn't start during COVID. I started the habit like end of 2019. But I had picked up writing morning journals, which is, waking up every day, writing 3 pages of just like free thought. And it helped me organize my life. And then I realized that during the dream launch, I totally forgot about it. I like totally just stopped writing on it. I thought about it yesterday and I started doing it this morning. And I realized I like looked back to the date, my last date, and I was like right before it. And I just kind of like lost all of the normal processes that I had in place. And I was like, no wonder I've just been a little bit more stressed out than normal. And so I picked it back up, and it's actually really helped me ground the entire, like throughout COVID. It's been crazy. And of course, every small business is wildly affected by it. And it's been, helpful to process through what has happened and then plan for what's next. And one thing, the reason why I started morning journals was because my friend recommended the book to me, The Artist Way, and I wanted to work on my own writing, and through that, this has been super helpful, and I feel much more confident from it.
It's so interesting that you were knocked off this task by your huge
sprint, right?
Yeah. It makes perfect sense too, and it goes in line with kind of your goal for the future. You know, like checking back in with yourself in between those big sprints and big seasons, and it just being kind to yourself. You know, like you're gonna fall off too.
Absolutely.
Well, for our listeners at home, we need to know, where can we find Potli? Where can we find your social media presence, and what should we watch for in the future?
Totally. So follow us on Instagram at getpotli, GETPOTLI.com. POTLI, and then the .com is our cannabis-based website. So for regulatory purposes, we sell both cannabis infused goods within California at dispensaries, but then we also have a hemp CBD line that we can ship nationwide. And so dispensaries wise, you can find us on Ease, MedMen, Apothecarium, Harborside, a lot of amazing dispensary partners up and down the coast. And then at potlyshop.com, you can buy our products, our hemp CBD products. And then we're also selling our Dream Honey and our apple cider vinegar on Amazon now through Prime. So you get some free shipping there too. But yeah, please check us out. And we're always putting out new content about recipes. Felicity's been doing Twitch streaming for cooking demos with local chefs in San Francisco, which is amazing. That's every Wednesday at 6 Pacific time. And yeah, it's really us behind the channel. So if you DM us, it's Chris or Fel responding. If you have any questions about like cannabinoids at all, our products, cooking with cannabis, like please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Christine and Felicity. I feel like I should just start calling you Chris and Fel now too. And get out there and, you know, have a great rest.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. I will just put out there code ASweatLife on potlyshop.com. We'll get you 15% off your purchase. And we'll do that until the end of the year.
Excellent. We'll put that in the show notes so you can find it online too. Thanks, friends.
Thank you.